Hi, my name is Dustin Miles. I'm with Momentum Multifamily. I'm super excited to have John here today, day before Thanksgiving. So thanks for being here, John.
Thank you.
Great to see you again.
You too.
Yeah. So if you could kind of introduce yourself, where you live, a little bit about your background, and we'll go from there.
Sure. Jon Weiskopf. Let's see. I live in Wisconsin, small little county called Door County up in the peninsula. Lived all over Connecticut, New York, San Francisco, then Wisconsin. So maybe sounds like a little weird trip. Um, my journey started in real estate probably when I was probably, I don't know, 5 or 6. I drew my first building. My father was an artist and would give me
Oh,
graph paper, and I just started drawing architectural blueprints. I wanted to be an
wow.
architect, then decided I wanted to be an engineer and design Ferrari Formula One race cars. Graduated college. Didn't want to go to work at all, really.
Yeah.
Just wanted to keep being young and free, I guess.
Yeah.
Um, Took a job with a friend's father out of from high school designing air conditioning for commercial buildings.
Okay.
So I'm a mechanical engineer by college, bachelor of science.
Yeah.
And the building world it just clicked with me. I don't know. Sometimes you just got those things that
Hmm.
just kind of flow. And so, my career kind of started to take off. I got really into energy modeling and things like that. Moved to New York City after a year, where
Wow.
I think my career kind of flourished into, large scale projects. I was at a small engineering firm in the 2008 financial crisis. And that firm, I was there while that firm went from 130 employees to 30.
Oh, wow. That'll get your attention.
During, and during that time, interestingly enough, never thought about buying real estate during a real estate crash. So,
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
we'll come back to that one.
Yeah.
But I kind of was like, listen, I'm not going to lose my job, and I just said yes to every project out there, right? And
Oh,
it was
wow.
just my mentality of like, I can do it all. I can do it,
Yeah.
right? If
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't do it, I'm gonna
You're
figure it out. And
young and yeah. Yeah.
and I think that that pans out, Dustin, into probably the world that you and I are in now, which is like sometimes you don't know what you're doing, but like you got to figure it out, right? No matter what.
Yeah. I
Um,
yeah, I can relate to that. There's a lot of times where I don't know where I'm doing. So, yeah.
I got some stuff right now, right? And so, but that allowed me with hands-on experience, and I think that's another key piece in the real estate world too, is, I learned my skill. I mean, I did good in engineering school, but I learned my skill from the people, the tradesmen, the workers that actually built stuff in real life,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so, I was fortunate enough to get access to a lot of different projects. I mean, I was part of a group that built a 40-story high rise in Manhattan. Um, did
Wow.
that for did that for about 10 years, and one day I got a call. I happened to be looking for a new job, so it's kind of weird.
Hmm.
I got a call from a recruiter at Apple, yes, the iPhone maker, and they asked me if I'd be interested in doing a phone interview, and I did it. It took them about 6 months to get me out to California. They canceled on me 5 times the day before I was supposed to get on the plane.
Oh, wow.
Um, so it
Wow.
wasn't the most like inviting
Yeah.
process, I will
Not
tell you. Then
smooth.
I
Yeah.
no, and then I got there and they stuck me in a room for 9 hours. I was in the same room for 9 hours. Um,
Wow.
and I will never forget. I interviewed with I don't know how many people, 8, 10 different people in that process, and
Jeez.
one person told me, and he happened to end up being a very big confidant of me once I joined. But he said, Apple is unlike many other places. Like you have to be able to be thrown into fire and walk yourself out. It's like that is
Oh,
the world
wow.
you're going to walk into, right? And so it was. He's like, if you don't think you can do that, do not say yes if you get this job offer.
Yeah. Wow.
And I think a couple weeks later, I ended up getting the job offer, and now I knew nobody in California. My whole life was on the East Coast. My friends, my family, everything. Never lives by
Mhm.
myself. I'd either lived with friends, a girlfriend, family, whatever.
Mhm.
And I just, my friends all told me like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like you cannot throw this away.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Yeah.
and so I took that chance, moved out to California. Sure enough, got thrown into fire many, 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 many times with Apple. Um, Good fires because they teach you a lot, right?
Yeah.
You got to figure it
Yeah.
out.
Mhm.
I ended up building in over 20 different countries.
Wow.
I worked there for about 9 years, and it was the last few years that really found myself kind of unhappy.
Mm.
It's funny when you make a lot of quite good money, and
Yeah.
you have stock in a company that is the best performing company in the stock market, and you're miserable.
Yeah.
My
Gotcha.
wife, I became a father right before COVID started, and I was constantly, I got lucky because I wasn't traveling during COVID. So that kind of started to,
Mhm.
change my mind about the world that I was living, right? I had
Yeah.
no control. I would spend weeks on end out of the country. I traveled out of the country every single month.
Wow.
I got phone calls at all hours of the day. Now I signed up for it. Maybe didn't put enough barriers to my world that I should have early on.
Hmm.
Um, but I just found myself just completely unhappy, and so I took a 3 month leave from Apple. I took a mental health leave.
Wow.
My wife is in HR, so luckily I had a coach and telling me what
Yeah.
to do and how to do it.
Yeah.
I got paid for 3 months. Not everybody has that luxury, so I know how fortunate I am, especially in California. But during that time, the stress I had of a demanding job just disappeared.
Right. Right.
And
Wow.
during that time, I something came up on Instagram, and it was like real estate investing class, and I was like, well, crap, man, I got tons of time on my hands right now. Like, I'll go for the day.
Yeah.
So I went to this, like, I think it was like a 2 hour seminar or something like that, and then it was
Okay.
like, come to our 3 day workshop. So I went to that.
Gotcha. Feeder. Yeah.
Very 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 much a feeder. I got
Yeah.
I got I got I got trapped in that one, for
Yeah.
sure. Um, but I remember sitting in this room, and I think this is where everything dawned on me is, there's a lot of people that would stand up and talk or get interviewed and what have you, or that I would meet and networking. And not a single person I met had any previous real estate experience before they had gotten into real estate.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm kind of sitting there, I'm like 20 years, 20 countries. I think I've done about 10 billion in construction development work. Um,
Wow.
I was like, man, I know everything there is about a building. There's really not any building that I haven't engineered or built yet.
Right.
Um, I can do this.
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
that confidence in me, right? That kind of ego guy was like, yeah, I can do this. Whatever, it can't be
Yeah.
that hard. Um, it was kind of at that point I went home and told my wife I was quitting, and she said, "Oh, well, okay. What are you going to do?"
Yeah.
Um, and that's where my real estate investing journey kind of started. I launched a
Wow.
company probably way before I knew what the hell I was doing. Again,
Yeah.
sometimes ignorance is bliss, and sometimes not knowing is probably the best way about life.
Yep.
Because knowing too much kind of can cause that fear to kind of creep in on you.
Yeah, for sure.
And and that's it. Now again, I must always say on these things, I have an amazing wife who is very successful, and I had the fortunate ability of her supporting our family while I build my dream.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
so not everybody has that, and I think
Yeah.
I had the chance to stop work and put in the time. I don't think that should stop anybody, but
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
different approaches are needed.
Well,
But
well, kudos to her.
yeah, I'm lucky man. I'm a very
Yeah.
lucky man.
Yeah, that's great. Wow. There's a lot there. So I guess just kind of backing up a little bit. I know you said you've moved kind of all over the country and all that. Where did you grow up?
Connecticut.
Connecticut. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. And did you go to college East Coast?
Yeah. I went to
Okay.
Lehigh in Bethlehem,
Okay.
Pennsylvania. Yeah. So
Okay.
engineering, yeah, engineering school, engineering business school. My grandfather, it was in the same town. My both my parents were born and grew up in. I still have family there.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
just, I lived this like world in this very close kind of northeast area. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So how long ago, so it sounds, so you started your investing real estate business in the last few years?
I started in, let's see, on paper, I started in like I actually launched my LLC in September of 2022. I
Oh,
will
okay.
say that I probably didn't really actually begin. Having an LLC doesn't mean you actually have a
Sure.
business.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna, it's just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
I ended up quit. I went back to Apple after my leave for a few months, and again, that really solidified that I was making the right decision after I went back.
Yeah. That's smart.
But I
Yeah.
I quit quit Apple in April of 2023. So I'd been there for nine
Okay.
years,
Okay.
and really went all in May of 23, and been going all in. That's all I do. It's all I do all day, every day.
Oh wow. Okay. Gotcha. And what is what does your business look like? I know we've talked before, so I know you're involved in
Sure.
multifamily. I don't know if you're, and I think maybe some private credit as well. So, yeah, if you kind of chat about that.
Yeah. I am I'm big into impact investing. So my
Hmm.
kind of model is, affordable housing, Class C multifamily, assisted living, mobile home parks. Though I don't own any mobile home parks yet, but I'm constantly looking for one. Um, my mantra here is I want to do good and do well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want my money to produce purposeful profits.
Hmm.
And what does that mean? I don't run a charity, I run a for profit business.
Yeah.
But when I go out and I buy property, or I assess whether or not I'm going to buy a property or a business, I not only look at financial outcomes, but I look at environmental and social outcomes.
Got
Um,
it.
I do it for two reasons. Environmental, and is really about resilience in an asset. There are
Mm.
a lot of things that mess up a building, especially when it comes to climate and utilities, that can make or
Yep.
break the value. And being an engineer and having designed them, I don't know any other way to look at a building, right?
Right.
So
Right.
I can't just avoid that stuff. There's no way for me to turn that side of my brain off. So that's just me.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
everybody should. Maybe you don't
Sure.
have to do it to the extent that I do it on, but that is where value is lost in properties, right? Is operations. Um,
Right.
and then the social side of thing is really about, the people that I want to serve,
Mm.
right? My choice is there's a lot of needs in this country. From my perspective, and I want to be part of a solution that helps people live freely.
Right.
Not everybody can own a home, but everybody should deserve to have a house or a place they call home, whether that's an apartment, a mobile home, whatever it is, right? And so
Yeah.
it's just the area that I've just decided to go into. It's not for everybody. It's a totally different ball game than a Class A, high income earner type property. They each have their own different
Right.
frustrations and
Right.
difficulties, and you pick your battles, and I pick this one.
Yeah. 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 Gotcha.
And then you did. I think this is probably good for listeners. Is passive income is a thing.
Mhm.
It's not an easy thing in real
Yeah.
estate,
Yeah.
especially when you are an operator, right? Your investors come
Mhm.
first. Early on, deals don't always go exactly as you want them to, as you
What?
learn.
What? They always do. What are you talking about?
I probably started to get into real estate investing at maybe not the greatest time in the world financially with rising rates, but hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's no better time like tomorrow, like yesterday, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so, having quit my job and needing to make cash flow and realizing that my early properties, while doing okay and increasing in value, were not producing the operator cash that I needed to kind of keep my lights on. I needed to find something else. And
Yep.
I found that in private credit.
Mm.
I was fortunate to have some of my own capital, when I left Apple and just my first 20 years of my career.
Hmm.
And I did one loan for somebody that was actually looking for an investment on a multifamily property. And I said, I don't want to give you money for 5 years. And
Yeah.
they said,
Yeah.
well, would you help us with the earnest money deposit?
Mm.
We got four partners. We got three partners. We put in 75% of it. We're just looking for another 100 grand. And I said, sure.
Yeah.
What would this
Yeah.
look like? And they said, we'll give you 10% flat for 3 months. And I said, ooh, okay, this could work. And they performed. They were great people. I've done, I think, three more loans with them since then. And so I slowly started to find myself in this niche where I could help operators get my money back quickly and make a
Yeah.
decent chunk of change.
Yeah.
And that's really just been that's been how I've produced a lot of my cash flow.
Mm.
And I think, I was talking to an investor yesterday. I think this might be an interesting conversation. I bought an assisted living last year, and it has performed very well. We are paying our investors 100% of their preferred return.
Great.
Um, but we are not making enough for fees. And so my
Mm,
partner and I decided that we would pay our investors before we took asset management fees. There's a whole conversation about how operators want to do that. I don't think there's a right or wrong way there, but it was what we decided to do, right? We had
yeah,
some new
yeah,
investors. We needed to prove some worth, and I'm early. And
yeah,
so for
yeah.
me, trust is very important in the business, right? So I've
Hmm.
worked for free for a year on that property.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
it's my private lending business that has allowed me to make money on the side and support Blue Eyed Capital without needing these properties to do it. And so, yes, that is not going to work forever, right? As I continue to grow and scale.
Right,
But
right.
it's been a cushion for me that means that I don't have to rely on some of these properties, and it allows me to, again, as I grow. And again, I think this is really important for new early investors. Your track record and how you treat people is very important early on.
Yep,
And
yep,
people are
yep.
not going to show up and give you $1 million check your first one, right? It's not going to
Right.
happen.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know. Maybe you got really rich friends and,
yeah.
and they want, right. But so I think that, it's been a blessing in disguise. I have now really built that business very well. I have a lending business that I do, and I'm happy to talk about that more. But that's
Mhm.
now become a branch, right? And I didn't even
That's
know I was
great.
ever going to do it. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
Well, and I think so that's a really great point, and because you had no I don't know, maybe you didn't even know what private credit was whenever you
I
were kind
didn't.
of starting your business. And
Not really.
so
Nope.
that's a great point. So you took action, you got in, some of it timing may not be perfect, whatever, you learn, you're like, "Wait a minute, this makes sense." And so but you would have never have known that fork in the road or that branch unless you took action to begin with. And so I think that's just a really just important, and we've had some situations where on our end where very similar, we wouldn't have known. I didn't even we I think you and I have talked a little bit about tax abatements. I didn't know what a tax abatement was. If you asked me like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I didn't even know that was a thing. And I was like, "Oh, that's low income property." That's what my
Yeah.
association was with it. And so, like, but we, basically got a master's class over the past few years, and like now we know how it works. We know where to go. We know how what levers to pull and all that. But like to your point, we wouldn't have known that if we were just sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah.
So anyways, kudos to you.
There's, it's, I'm a person that likes to know everything. Like I don't like when I don't know something.
Yeah.
But I've realized, especially being in this business, there is so much to know. And so
Mhm.
I've stopped trying to focus on everything. I've tried to focus on the stuff that I enjoy. Like I enjoy the private credit stuff. I found really good success.
Mm.
I like it. I like the short term nature of it. I like the negotiation nature of it. I like being able to help up and coming operators perform. And so to me, it's I produce
Yeah.
win wins, and it just but I have passion for it,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And so there's other things in this business I don't have much passion for,
Right. Yeah.
and I don't really spend much time on them anymore, right?
You
And
you don't love loan docs? What?
those actually I don't mind it. Weirdly enough, I
Okay.
don't mind,
Okay.
which is weird, but it's um I, it, I am not a high transaction based private lender. I am a
Mhm.
relationship based private lender. I've completed 14 loans. I actually just wiring money before you and I got on the call
Oh
today
wow.
for somebody today. It's a 1 week loan. So
Okay.
people need cash. They come up short for closing. I
Hmm.
do referral based lending, but I think what was my number? I think 70% of my loans have all been are all repeat borrowers.
Oh wow. Okay. What sort of range of loan are you looking at? What do those terms kind of look like for the
Sure.
borrower?
So I've given money. My smallest loan was 75,000. My largest loan is 500,000 to date. Um, my ranges are all over the place. So I have one loan right now. I'm getting 24%. interest annualized.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I have another loan out right now. That was a $300,000 for a modular new development out in Denver. I'm getting
Mhm.
3.4% per month.
Hmm.
So that's about
Wow.
40% ARR, 41%
Yeah.
ARR.
Yeah. They better pay it back quick.
The loan I made, the loan I made today is for 1 week. It's 1%. So that's 52% if you annualize that return. So
Yeah.
um, a lot of it comes with, I'm responsible. I'm flexible in my terms. I don't have fixed stuff. I do it based on the borrower. If I know them, what they're trying to do, how they're trying to do it, and what's the money's being used for.
Hmm.
And I make, but that flexibility comes with the cost for people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think debt is looked at very badly in our world, right? A lot of
Mhm.
people see debt as a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most very successful business people, maybe all successful business people, see it strictly as leverage and a cost of doing business. And I
Yep.
think when you start doing that, you have access to a lot more money than you think you do.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
You know,
Um, awesome. And so what do you kind of, we're at the end of the year, Thanksgiving's tomorrow, but what do you see next year looking like for you? And maybe, if you know the next few years, then that's great too. But
sure. I'm still working on my assisted living. So that one, we're going through a big staff change right now.
oh, gotcha.
A
Okay.
year in, so that one's, I fly down there on Sunday. Um, that one's still, it's the first one, so that one's still a work in progress. So still, still trying to get to the targets that we want. We're a little bit behind, but so that's going there. We have some big projections. We hope to add about 50% of value to that property in the next 12 months.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
if our plans can work out, knock on wood, at least 25%, but we think 50 is possible in value growth.
Wow.
Um, I am, back to my affordable housing piece. It's very hard. I have two kids. I have a 6-year-old and a 1-year old. It's very hard to travel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't really like to travel either all that much anymore. I like to be around my kids,
Yep.
and my wife likes to be home. So, I have found that in the last 3 years, businesses and real estate away from me is not what I like. I am
Hmm.
not against it. I don't say don't do it.
Yeah.
And I still look for opportunities that are not in my area. Um,
Mhm.
um, but they need to be with very strong partnerships and very strong local people. I have
Gotcha.
some where all of us as partners are far away. Those are not working the best. The
Right.
ones where
Yeah.
I have partners that are very close to the asset are the ones that are performing the best. And so
Yeah.
I've decided for me to grow myself and my own businesses, I'm staying within an hour or two of my
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
I'm very big into build to rent communities,
Hmm.
and very big into modular construction. I see that as the kind of the thing that's really going to tip the scale when it comes to real estate growth
Hmm.
and kind of solving some of the issues that we have with affordability and just speed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Construction takes a freaking long time, and
Yeah.
there's always freaking problems.
I mean,
So
honestly, sorry to interrupt
yeah,
you.
no,
To your point, I know you said you're not in mobile home parks yet, but like, if you wanted to, I wish there wasn't such a, and maybe there isn't with some people, but I know there, like, at least people I've talked to, there is like a, I guess kind of looked down upon, situation with mobile homes. It's like, oh, you're, about to get taken away by a tornado, or whatever whatever some of the jokes are. But as far as like solving, affordability crisis, like, mobile homes, pretty good option. So,
it is.
yeah. Anyways, just wanted to
There,
point that out. So,
yeah, no, it is, and stigmas are not the same everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
up where I'm at, there's tons of them. I think there's a
Hmm.
600 unit park. I mean, call it a mini village. Um, you know, and it's been there since I think it's been there since the 70s, if I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
wow.
Obviously, it has
Yeah.
gone through a lot of changes over 50
Sure.
something years, but it's been. I mean, it's a staple of our town. I live in a
Yeah.
10,000 person town. Um,
Hmm.
those are great. I mean, I'm looking at everything, right? What I want to try to do again on the modular side, the average home today, even if you build from scratch, is somewhere around $300,000 to $400,000, and a lot of that money still needs government help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether it's free government land, whether it's some sort of low interest loan from a affordable housing grant or fund or trust or something
Mhm.
like that. I have some modular companies that I'm working with. One in Chicago, and I'm trying to build a house for 200,000.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so, I just want to know. I'm looking at what's next for the next 10 years,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? I think for people to look at like what's the next technology. We all talk about AI and all of this stuff, but there's other things out there, right?
Hmm.
There's robotics that are part of AI. How did those things change the construct for anybody in the construction industry out there? You'll know that not much has changed in a very, very long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure, people don't use hammers anymore. They use like pneumatic nail guns and things like that, but
Yeah.
it's still a hammer or still a
Yeah.
nail into wood.
Yeah.
And those guys can do stuff fast. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
you look at where is potential to make massive changes and how something is done.
Mm.
And I plan to be in real estate for the next few decades until I'm done, done working. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and then private debt. I just launched a 506c private credit fund.
Okay.
So that's just getting started, and looking to build up my network there, and get that started, and hopefully it's successful, and I can launch fund two. But I think my view on rates, if rates drop, buying increases. If buying increases, good quality operators are still stuck with trying to find the cash that they need,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially on short-term basis, right? My loans are 6 months or less. I
Yeah.
only have one loan that's been going for more than 12 months, and it's just it's a very good rate, and I don't want the guy to pay me back. If rates don't go up, and I honestly think they're going to go down. I don't know how much. I don't know if it's a point. I don't
Yeah.
know if it's a quarter like that. You know, whatever it is. But if they happen to go back the other way, I think people are still crunched for money, but the solid operators are still trying to find deals. So from a
Yeah.
credit short-term private credit perspective, I actually think the market is high demand for that type of product, regardless of which direction rates go, and kind of the market shifts a little bit. So
Yep. 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 Awesome. Well, great. How do people get in touch with you? I know I wanted to point out to your LinkedIn post and all that are on point. So
thank you.
doing really well there. I feel like whenever there's a handful of people that when I pull up LinkedIn, they pop up and it's like you and like two other people. And I'm like,
I'm
wow,
doing a good job then.
he's getting after it. Yeah. Good job, John.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. LinkedIn is where I post everything. I have a newsletter on Substack. But go to LinkedIn and you can find everything about me, my history, my career. I always try to post things and engineering tips. Try to post fun facts about Apple stores that I built over the years that people don't know. To kind of break up the monotony of, I did this and this deal, and um, other types of boring, posts that are probably flooding LinkedIn these days.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, please check me out. I'm the type that wants to help people and wants to give people information, whether you're an investor, somebody that wants to learn. Um, I try to share all that I've learned over 20 years and what I keep learning, and hopes that it helps the next person start their business. I will say that after 20 years in corporate America, I probably worked 10 times more hours than I did at Apple, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
with a heck of a lot more um, freedom and also uh, positive outcomes from it.
Yeah.
It is extremely rewarding when you are making decisions on your own that have tangible outcomes. Sometimes those outcomes are not the right ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes they are, but when you see it and you can call the shots, it's a very amazing feeling to have.
Well, and I bet you're also because I know you mentioned how much you traveled, you're probably a lot more efficient now. And plus, like you're like, I want to finish this up so I can go hang out with the kiddos too. So I'm sure efficiency has bumped up quite a bit. So you're not, sitting at the airport. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
definitely. But it's also, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have worked for somebody else that worked for a month or two on a project just for somebody to say, yeah, we're not going to go that way anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
Or
painful.
Or you spend months on this report that just because you have to check the box that no one's actually going to read the report. I mean, I worked for a defense contractor. We're like, that they were the kings of like the big final report. So you had to check the box. But like, is anybody going to read it? Probably not. So,
Yeah.
anyways, but
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. You've
Well,
been
well,
there.
cool.
Yep.
Yeah, and if you have a website or if LinkedIn's kind of the best way or Substack, but please connect with John, super nice guy. So those are the two best resources for you, you think?
Yeah, LinkedIn. I
Okay.
mean, my website is www.blueeyedcapital.com, all spelled out there. That's my business, named after my wife and two kids. So I kind of wake up every day to and know who I'm working for and what I'm trying to achieve. But LinkedIn, you can find access to everything, all of my information. That's probably the best place to
Okay.
all in one shot.
Awesome. And just so everybody, in case you're just listening, so it's John Jon and then Weiskopf. So,
Yeah, perfect.
anyways, but yeah, appreciate your time, John. Hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll talk soon.
You too, man. Thank you
All right.
so much for having me. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
See you, John. Bye.